One of the most common questions I get is this: how do you raise your children to be trilingual? I made a video about this 2 years ago, but so much has changed, so today I'm breaking it all down. Whether you're just starting out or you are deep in the trenches of bilingual, trilingual parenting, I hope this gives you some real-life ideas and encouragement. Let's dive in. Before we jump in, a quick hello if you're new here. I'm Kayi, a UK-based mum and professional translator. My husband and I have been raising our children to be trilingual in Russian, English and Chinese since 2016. On this channel, I share real-life tips, personal stories and honest reflections about raising multilingual children. In this video, I'm going to break everything down into 5 key pillars, 5 building blocks that form the foundation of how we have been raising our children to speak 3 languages while growing up right here in the UK. And yes, they've never even been to China or Russia. These are the strategies we started with, and they are the ones we keep coming back to as the kids grow and life evolves. By the end of this video, you know exactly what those 5 pillars are, and hopefully you walk away with ideas you can adapt for your own family. Alright, let's get into it, starting with pillar number 1. Pillar number 1, using the one parent, one language strategy, OPOL, OPOL. The key pillar of our family's approach to raising trilingual children has been the one parent, one language method, also known as OPOL or OPOL. When our son was born in 2016, we didn't know much about trilingual parenting, but we sort of intuitively fell into this method anyway. My husband started speaking to him in Russian and I spoke Cantonese at the time. To give you some context, I'm fluent in both Cantonese and Mandarin, and I consider Cantonese to be my mother tongue, even though my mum actually speaks Shanghainese as her mother tongue. Anyway, that's a long story. We weren't super consistent in the beginning, but we did our best. When my son turned 2, we consulted a language specialist at our local children's center. We wanted to add Mandarin into the mix and asked if it was too early or too confusing. She said, no, children can handle multiple languages. So I began speaking to him in a mix of Cantonese and Mandarin. But it became too overwhelming for me at the time. Eventually, I switched exclusively to Mandarin. It's a decision I still have some regrets and reservations about. I talk about this in a lot more detail in a separate video linked below. Since 2018, I've spoken only Mandarin to both of our children, and my mum does the same. My husband has consistently spoken Russian. However, at age 3, our son still only spoke English, even though he understood both Mandarin and Russian. He would say words in Russian and Chinese, but the sentences that he came up with were always in English, with maybe some Chinese and Russian words. After chatting with a dad raising his children bilingually in French and English, I implemented a new technique that encouraged our son to start actively using both target languages. Full details in the video linked below. 3 months later, he was speaking Mandarin with me and Russian with my husband. That was such a big turning point. The biggest change we've made, we became consistent. We set clear expectations that they reply to us in our language. That was key. The funny thing is, our daughter, born when my son was 1.5, had a completely different journey. She took to it really naturally. From the moment she started talking, she used Mandarin with me and Russian with her dad. No training needed. But once they both started full-time school, things got trickier. The pull of English is so strong. That's why we constantly, even now, have to be really mindful about maintaining consistency at home. If you are raising bilingual or trilingual children, I can't stress this enough. Consistency is everything. Don't fall into the habit of replying in English just because it's easier. I know it's hard, but if you want to do this long term, don't give in. Why does OPOL work for us? It creates clear, predictable boundaries. The kids know the rules. With Mama, Chinese. With Papa, Russian. No confusion. There have actually been moments when I accidentally used Russian and my son was like,
Mama, 你为什么讲俄语？很奇怪。
Why are you talking in Russian? That's so weird. So OPOL may not work for every family, but for us, it's been a rock solid foundational principle. If you're new here and looking to get started, check out my free 45-minute video course and downloadable PDF guide. Both are linked down below, completely free. I'm not selling anything here. Pillar number 2, establishing a reading and writing routine. This might not be essential for every family, but for us, reading and writing is a cornerstone of our trilingual parenting journey. Why? Because my husband and I, we really value literacy. Look, we can't imagine speaking a language fluently but not being able to read or write in it ourselves. And we feel the same way about our children's language learning. That said, reading and writing is definitely optional, although I would argue incredibly beneficial. It builds richer vocabulary, strengthens discipline, and gives your child a more complete relationship with the language, in my opinion. And here's another thing. Each of our 3 languages has a completely different writing system. So reading and writing stretches their brains in different ways. It challenges them to think in new patterns and switch between systems. I explore this in more detail in my bilingual brain video, linked down below. We started when each child was about 3 years old. At first, it was really relaxed, a few minutes here and there, learning how to hold a pencil, tracing characters, doing simple alphabet exercises, and so on and so forth. Over time, we built it up. Now that they're 7 and 8, we do 30 minutes of reading and writing, 5 or 6 days a week. Sundays off. We all need a day off, right? This routine has become a natural part of our daily rhythm. It helps us stay consistent and definitely boosts their vocabulary. If your child is still a baby or toddler, forget writing for now and just start reading. You can read to them from day one, literally day one. They'll soak in the rhythm of the language, even if they're just staring at you. For more on how we structure our reading and writing sessions, check out the full routine video I've linked below. Quick reminder here, guys, if you're enjoying this video and want to dive deeper, don't forget to check out my book, Bilingual and Trilingual Parenting 101, and the free printables on my website. All the links are in the description below. Pillar number 3, language classes. Language classes can be fantastic, but they are a supplement, not a solution, in my opinion. Sending your child to Saturday school won't magically make them fluent, but it can really support what you are already doing at home. Our children have been going to Russian school since they were around 2 or 3. I know, super young. At one point, they went to a Russian school in London that they absolutely loved. They actually went there for maybe 5-6 years. Every Saturday, they spend about 3 to 4 hours immersed in Russian, singing, dancing, reading, writing, even maths, everything in Russian. It gave them a kind of immersion we can't always offer at home. It also connected us with other Russian-speaking families and helped our kids see Russian as a social, real-world language. We have since switched to a more local and slightly more affordable school, but the weekly rhythm is the same. As for Chinese, we tried Sunday school, but it was aimed more at non-Chinese speaking families. So I found that the level wasn't quite right for us. And after COVID hit, the school closed anyway. We also tried online lessons, but I found them overstimulating and not especially effective for the money and time investment. Plus, I'm a qualified teacher, so I decided to take that on myself. It's not for everyone, but it works for us. Bottom line, language classes are great, but they work best when the foundation is already being built at home. Pillar number 4, family interactions. This one is close to my heart. We don't have a huge extended family in the UK, but my mum lives nearby and we see her at least once a week. She speaks Shanghainese, Cantonese, Mandarin, and English. With the children, she uses Mandarin, which gives them even more consistent input beyond just me. My in-laws live in Australia, but they try to visit once a year. Last year, my father-in-law stayed with us for a week and it made such a difference. He played with the kids, took them out, spoke to them in Russian the entire time. And they loved it. They loved hanging out with the dedushka. Family time can be incredibly rich for language learning. Even if it's just a weekly video call or a few days during the holidays, use it. Leverage that. And soon, my mother-in-law will be visiting us very soon, so the children will get to practice more Russian with their babushka. And if we are lucky, she will make her incredible Napoleon cake. Pillar number 5, playdates and peer motivation. This one is so underrated. I have a group of Chinese-speaking friends I met through work, and now all of us are raising our children to speak Mandarin. When we meet up, our kids mostly speak English among themselves, but they hear us speaking Mandarin, and that modeling is powerful. Even if they're not using the target language among themselves, seeing it used in real-life situations matters. It shows them that this isn't just a mummy language, it's a real living language used by other families too. One example, my cousin's son is being raised with Mandarin and German in Germany. For years, he understood Mandarin but didn't want to speak it. Then he spent a week with us. My kids don't speak German. He doesn't speak English, so Mandarin became the only way for them to connect. And he did. He started speaking Mandarin. Later, he spent a few months in China, and now, according to my mom, his Mandarin is even better than my kids. So don't underestimate the power of peer exposure. Playdates, meetups, holidays, family trips, all of these things really count. What about immersion? Now I get asked this a lot. Do my kids need to go back home to become fluent? My honest answer, it helps, but it's not essential. Our children have never been to China or Russia, not yet. Of course, we would love to take them when the time is right, but we haven't relied on travel to build their language foundation. Look, I know families who spent one summer abroad and it totally transformed their child's language journey. But I also know families who went or even go regularly and then nothing changed. The kids stayed in their English-speaking bubble. Everyone back home maybe speaks English to them. There was no real need to switch languages. So here's my take. Don't count on immersion through extended holidays alone. Language learning starts at home with you. Don't rely on grandparents, teachers, apps, or Saturday school to do it for you. If you have a strong why and you show up consistently, your child will follow. So that's our 2025 update. These are the 5 pillars we've relied on for the past 8 years. It's not perfect, but it's working. And just to be totally transparent, our kids aren't 100% fluent, as in they don't speak like native kids in China or Russia. But that's okay. We are not aiming for perfection. We are aiming for progress, for the brain benefits, for the connection, for the global perspective and mindset that multilingualism brings. And for us, that's worth it. If this resonated with you, I made another video all about the mindset shifts that helped transform our journey. I'll link it below. Let me know in the comments, which of these 5 pillars do you already use in your life? What might you try after watching this? You've got this, guys. See you next time.